His friend Ben Simmons kept Trae Young in check, and Philly hanging on to even the series up at a game apiece. And with that, we welcome NBA vet and host of the Knuckleheads podcast, Darius Miles. Darius, good morning. I'm going to jump right in. Tell me, what did you learn about Embiid and the Sixers in last night's win over Atlanta?
I feel he's been doing the same thing that he's been doing every time he's healthy. He always played good. He's played like he's the MVP, and last night he showed that he's one of the MVP candidates.
And you saw why a lot of people thought before he got hurt he was going to win MVP. And there's no answer for Embiid when he's healthy. I showed it earlier. I can show it again quickly. In these playoffs so far, Darius, he's more than a point a minute. He's 175 points in 168 minutes. And if you remove the game where he got hurt early, he's averaging 33 points on 61% shooting. And I feel like you look across the landscape and it's like, okay, there's nobody in the league that can physically match up with him. So for Philly, it's more about figuring out what the rest of the team is going to look like. And so the question I would have for you, Darius, is this. I know there is a lot of belief of just put Ben Simmons on Trae Young, and Ben Simmons done a good job on Trae Young. I think one of the reasons Doc has been hesitant to do it the whole game or whenever Trae's out there is Trae is so, how do I put this kindly, manipulative at drawing foul calls that he's worried Ben's going to get in foul trouble. When you're guarding a guy that you know is partially trying to score, but partially just trying to get you to run into him so he can go to the line and you get in foul trouble, how do you deal with that? Because I think that's one of the reasons Doc's been hesitant to use Ben on him the whole time.
I think the great thing about it is he has a bunch of bodies to put in front of him. They built that team to win a championship, so it's not just Ben Simmons. They got a bunch of guys that come off the bench. They got Danny Green. They're a deep team, so I feel like they got a lot of bodies to throw in front of them, and a lot of different schemes. Sometimes they trap, sometimes they let them go. So you're going to see a lot of different looks, and I feel like at the end of the game, they're going to put their best defender on them, which is Ben Simmons, to kind of disrupt them that.
Yep. But bro, I mean, just put Ben Simmons on him now. Like Doc Rivers just defended Ben Simmons because everybody's crushing him for what he's not doing on the offensive side. So you know what he presents and what he brings to the table when it comes to distributing the basketball and defensively. So put him on him from jump. Like, that's what you do. You don't need him on the offensive side this series because he's only going to give you 18, 19, 20 points. So put him out there now. Like, everybody respects Doc as one of the best leaders in basketball. But from a strategist, you never hear Doc Rivers' name thrown into that conversation. So for me, if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm putting Ben Simmons on him from start to finish because you don't need him offensively. Now, for me, the biggest takeaway was Embiid. Like last year, I was probably the biggest critic on Embiid going back to the bubble. Here's my notes. My notes last year was when he was in the bubble, you had Ben Simmons go down. So it's all on him. This was his moment to take control and show that he was the most dominant player. Now he emerged into that this year, but leadership terrible, body language terrible, and then I also wrote, if I'm them, I'll move on from because it's the whole discussion: who do you keep, Ben Simmons or Embiid? But then you take this offseason, a shortened offseason, and this dude went to the other end of the spectrum. He not only became a leader, you saw what he was doing in game one with Danny Green, just super smart and getting all his guys in position, over-communicating like CP3, LeBron James, but then his game just went to a whole nother level. So my question to you is he the most dominant player in the NBA right now? Because I've been saying it for a couple of months.
I don't know if he's the most dominant player in the NBA. This is his season, his breakout season to be in the MVP votes, and this is breakout season to take another step up in his game. But I don't think I would say he's the most dominant player. Anthony Davis is the best center in the league to me. Then Embiid, then Joker.
Oh, wow.
I think it falls off like that. And And he's just playing at a top level now. He's stepping up his game this year. He was a little bit more healthy than usual. And when he do get the opportunity to play, he putting 40 balls up. With Ben Simmons, we don't live in the era no more where you actually put the best defender on a guy a whole game. You know, this era right here, guys, you know, guard guys for quarters. You know, they kind of save their energy, kind of have strategy, and at the end of the game, they match up like that. So I think this era now is not the era where you putting a guy like Ben Simmons on Trae Young a whole game.
Got you. And that's what Doc did, because Matisse got some looks with him too, and like Seth was flashing and doing weird stuff just to generally throw Trae off. What do you think about this theory, Darius? Last night was actually game 3 of Sixers-Hawks. And game 1 was the first half of game 1. Game 2 was the second half. And then we had last night. Because game 1, Trae Young and the Hawks came out hot. They got a big lead. He scored 25 points. Then Ben Simmons like, you know what? Let's switch it up. And Doc's like, you know what? You're right. Switch it up. Danny Green, you're not going to guard Trae Young so much. And he went 0 for 4 from 3. And last night he went 1 for 7 from 3. So it's my belief that all momentum is with Sixers, where on paper it's tied 1-1. But according to Habs and just general vibe, the Sixers are up. Are you buying this
Sixers
sort of like
vibes?
made-up theory I've got? Yeah, vibe, yeah. If you look at the vibe count, Sixers are up.
I feel like it's definitely a must-win for the Hawks. They going home. They want to protect their home court. They went to Philly and got one like they wanted to do, and they got to protect their home court. So the pressure is kind of a little bit on them now. The 76ers look good that game, and like I said, they MVP, which has been Embiid all year. He looked like he full force ready to go.
I don't know. That knee makes me nervous every time he's out there. Darius, you and Quentin Richardson just launched season 6 of the Knuckleheads podcast. Tell us a little bit about what we can look forward to this coming season.
We can look at some of the greats, some of the Loch Ness monsters, guys that really don't do interviews and don't. You got to kind of find them to get an interview, but we kind of looked them up, went to the deep, dark jungles to get some of these guys, and they came out and they represented for us, and we got good interviews from them, and I'm excited for people to see the guys that we got.
Nice.
That's great. Awesome. It's called the Knucklehead Podcast. Check it out. Darius Miles, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really great insight today. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it, Darius.
We're going to take a turn, talk some
Thank you.
Tom Brady. Brady's coming off knee surgery. The GOAT was going full speed already yesterday at minicamp. Good idea, bad idea? Is he ready for a repeat run? We got lots of questions. This is First Things First on a Wednesday morning.
Oh, all right, thank you.